Thanks for listening. This is Brian Hurley from Business Performance Improvement. The podcast Lean Six Sigma Bursts are short lessons, comments, Q&A, and insights. If you have a question, send your question through the Anchor app, and we might feature you on a future episode. Or contact me at biz-pi.com. I'm doing some training this week with a client, and we were talking about how to measure improvements. We didn't quite get into like hypothesis tests or anything like that, but we were talking about the fact that some of the improvements that they've implemented don't seem to be as effective long-term than what they're seeing initially when they roll out the improvements. And it made me think about the Hawthorne Effect, or the study that was conducted maybe 100 years ago, that was trying to study productivity and gains by changing the luminance level and the lighting changes in the area. There's some arguments about whether there's actually any improvement in productivity or not, but if you look at the general results and kind of the history of that study, basically the idea was if somebody went and changed the light levels, whether it was going up or down, each time a change was made, there was some productivity gain. And so what some of the conclusions from that were that just the attention on a problem is it really a true improvement? Or is it the fact that we're now talking about this problem, we're bringing it up, people are careful, they're noticing it, people are paying attention, they're asking about it. Naturally, you're going to be more careful and you're going to look for ways to not create the problem. And that will immediately show a dip in the problem. And we see this sometimes just by talking about the problem. We haven't actually improved anything, but just bringing up the problem, all of a sudden the problem gets better. So sometimes it's just the awareness of the problem that will make it get better initially. Sometimes any improvement we put in, even if it's a bad improvement, it could possibly lead to improvements in the data because that there's something different, or again, there's attention on this issue. And really it's only the long-term results where we might see whether or not that was true or not. And so it's really important to think through what type of data would we need to see in the long run to know that this actually works. Not just, okay, we ran this for a day or a week or even a month and we're seeing that the data is better. Let's check off that problem and move on to the next one. We really have to think about, have we put in the right process controls for this process? And that's assuming that improvement actually is effective and works. If we find out later that the problem comes back and it didn't really address it and it's really maybe some other effect of the change or the attention on the problem that made it go away or get better, then we have to really go back and look at some of these improvements and say, should they still be there? If we decide later that didn't really solve the problem, what we've done is we've created complexity in the process. We've added steps and waste in the process that doesn't actually prevent or reduce or minimize issues. So I would say after time, as we go back and look at our data and study it on a longer term period, we should challenge the things we've done. And if we think that it doesn't add value, let's get rid of it again and go back and say, all right, we didn't quite get it. Now let's rethink what might work and try something else. And I think a lot of times we end up leaning out a lot of the processes later after a lot of time when we've piled up a bunch of ineffective and unnecessary steps of the process that in the big scheme don't actually help the process any. And we finally come back and lean those out and get rid of them because we know they're not effective. But we really should be doing that as we go along and really checking to see, did the things that we implemented 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago, if those aren't helping the process run better, then let's consider them non-value added, wasteful, and let's get rid of them and come back and look at that problem again because it's still there. So obviously something wasn't working right. The other discussion we talked about was maybe we got a little bit of improvement. So I wanted to eliminate a problem, but I was only to take out 10%, 20% of them. Is it worth to keep that new change or device or step in the process? Is it still needed? And so I think if you can say that there is some benefit there, even small, then I'd say you should keep it in there. As long as the trade-off of what you're getting for that isn't, it takes, 10 minutes to do it and you're only saving yourself one error per month or year, may not be worth the effort there. But if it does have some impact, I'd say keep it in there, but always be looking for better solutions, and maybe the next solution will actually wipe out some of the previous stuff, and this new solution, it'll cover some of the other issues you had in place. So just wanted to bring up that topic. I thought it was a really good discussion we had, and I thought others might enjoy hearing about that discussion. If you've had any examples like that where you've seen temporary improvements that actually came back later or didn't maintain themselves over the long run, feel free to send me a note through the Anchor app, or you can reach me on social media or contact me through the website. Love to hear about it. Thanks.
Lean6sigmadefinition.com has a list of glossary items about popular process improvement terms, along with a history of Lean and Six Sigma methods, and key influencers like Dr. Edward Stemming, Henry Ford, Taiichi Ohno, Shigeo Shingo, and many more. You can also learn how to access affordable Lean and Six Sigma training and certification. Visit lean6sigmadefinition.com.